So we're going to discuss the very important concept of clearance in renal physiology. As you can see over here, the abbreviation for clearance is C subscript X. The definition technically is the volume of plasma needed to supply the excreted X. Now, how do we quantify that relationship? Well, it's the amount of X excreted per time divided by the plasma concentration of X. So this is summarized here as Cx, the clearance of X, is equal to the UV over P relationship. So clearance of a substance, X, is equal to the urinary concentration of that substance times the urinary flow rate. That's the amount of X excreted per unit time in the urine, divided by the plasma concentration. Now, this is how we can represent it mathematically, but over here we have a conceptual way that we're going to describe this process. And so what you can see over here is we have a schematic of the kidney. Okay, we have just a nephron just drawn just as a single straight nephron. We're not going into different nephron segments or anything like that for now. It's not important. We can see we have the blood supply coming into the kidney. Okay, and I want to draw your attention to the starting point over here. So you can see that we have a element of blood supposed to represent the renal plasma flow. Okay, and we're going to use a number that's fairly reasonable, 600 mils of plasma per minute. And inside this 600 mils, we put a substance X. And we happen to put 10 molecules of that substance. So the concentration of that substance is 10 molecules divided by the 600 mils. Okay? That amount of substance X is coming into the kidney. All right? And we know that through glomerular filtration, assuming that this substance is freely filtered, we're going to end up with some of that substance filtered at the level of the glomerulus, and then we're going to have some that's left over here in this remaining 480 mils of plasma per minute. Now, we also know that the kidney, under normal conditions, reabsorbs a significant amount of water, over 99%. So let's just keep it simple and say almost all the water is reabsorbed, and let's just make believe it's back to 600 mils per minute again. We know it's not exactly 600 mils per minute because we have some volume coming out in the urine. But let's to keep the whole schematic easy to understand, we're just going to call it 600. Okay? And we see here water's coming back. And we see a very tiny volume here at V dot. The way to think about this clearance concept is when we're thinking about the volume of plasma needed to supply the excreted X, what we're going to be looking for is by the time we're going into the renal vein, what volume theoretically is empty of that substance. There's going to be a fraction of the volume here that we're looking at that doesn't have the substance anymore if it was cleared. And that amount of volume represents the volume of plasma needed to supply the excreted X. So in this model, we're going to be looking for how much volume do we have that's lacking the substance X. And that'll tell us the clearance.